Hello, everyone. Um, Welcome to Billy Bonesworth's Crypt podcast. This is a pilot episode from Bonehead Publications. We're a small independent book publisher, started in 2019, was it, William?
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah. Uh, Today, I am joined by William Brower.
Good evening and good afternoon and good morning, wherever you are in the world.
Um, Before we get into the nitty gritty, would you like to tell us a bit about yourself, William? What do you do?
Well, I'll be happy to. I'm a author and Titanic historian in the South Florida area, right outside of Fort Lauderdale, and got over the course of the past 20 plus years, I've had 38 books published, as well as also having two short film scripts optioned and produced. And although I have worked on a Titanic film, I do want to go ahead and also clarify that it is not the Titanic film with James Cameron. That different caliber altogether, but the same ending though, for sure. The ship still sinks.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. For everyone new to Bonehead Publications, um, this all came about. A few years back, I wrote short stories for Days of the Dead, and while um, I was writing for the third issue for Atlanta, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Um, COVID struck, and lo and behold, we were all stuck in our houses, which doesn't really affect an introvert or a writer. Um, I came up with the bright idea of writing an anthology novel based on Hammer horror, and I this is when I found you. I was just browsing through. I think it was Nicholas Grabowski's Facebook page where um, I met you, and over the course of the months, which turned into years, we discussed this project, and it was on hold, and then we'd discuss, and then it would go on hold again, and eventually in 2023
Yeah.
we finally managed to get it released on Halloween Day.
And
Yeah.
aptly titled.
So, what was your experience? Yeah. Oh, it was a fantastic title.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Uh, what was your experience on the first anthology?
Well,
How did it go for you?
I, I will say this much. Working with you to get Let's Get Hammered out to the public was a fun experience all around because like you mentioned about the introverts and the writers during COVID. For me, this it was literally that whole lockdown phase was just another day in the office for me. And at one point, as awful as it sounds, when you think about it, I'm the type of person where if I'm working on a project, you know, all outside material that would normally distract me is usually shut down and unplugged until I'm finished writing. So I wasn't even aware of the full lockdown or even the full ramifications of things until I tried to go into the grocery store and the manager told me that I was not allowed to come in without a mask. So I actually drove home and I pulled out my zombie mask from Dario Argento's Zombies that I have, put it on my head, and came back to the grocery store and was like, "Okay, I guess is this a masquerade party or something?" Or the manager's like, um, "Did you see the news?" And I'm like, "No." So
Yeah,
and
I remember those days well. People on the news, they had their fish bowls on their head and they had astronaut suits and everything on. It was crazy.
it was, but it added more to the whole experience because I mean, you know, as soon as you rang me up and mentioned about wanting to do the Hammer horror project and stuff, and you know, going back and forth and trying to brainstorm how we were going to pull this off and what the name was going to be, left alone which aspect of Hammer we were going to try to accomplish with this. It was a great experience all around. I mean, you know, I seriously had to laugh on so many levels because to start with. I didn't realize that you were going to bring in Cameron Scott and Tom Commissar. And, you know, right off the bat, I'm like, wow, Tom Commissar. What if that's the same guy from Slasher Boy? Because Lord knows some of their music helped in writing some of my stories. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
Cameron Scott,
And
wow, what's the same filmmaker or not? Oh, hey, it sure is. So, so I mean, it was funny to see how you were picking the lineup like that, and you know,
if I'm going to be completely honest, I honestly can't remember how or when thing happened so quickly. It's like people were coming on. I can't remember if Tom had. Hold on. Um, I remember now. It was the Days of the Dead. Tom had picked up a copy of one of the anthologies, and he looked me up on Facebook because he liked my story. And then we got talking, and then I told him about the project that I was working on, to see if he'd be interested in like maybe like reading it at some point in the future. I was like, man, I'd really like to get on board with this if you'll give me a chance. I was like, yeah. And then it was shortly after that, um, Cameron Scott came on board because uh, Tom is good friends with him through the movies and things like that. And then Cameron came on board, and then we brought um, Chris Smith
yep,
on board as well.
yep,
Yeah.
fellow full sailor,
So from the two of us, we became five,
and I mean,
and now we're seven.
yeah, but just like anything else, it's all about the teamwork at the end of the day, and that's one of the reasons why I'm a very proud bonehead.
We're all boneheads at the end of the day.
We are, and on so many levels. Believe it or not, even though it's already been out for a year, I still like to share your reaction when you attempted to call the group meeting together for the second volume, the Cobwebs and Curios, and then how you had us pick out the weirdest thing in the house,
Yes.
and then for almost a full year of running jokes because of the fact that I had a box of gummy boobs from my friend's bachelor party. So,
Yeah. Because I was the one that asked you all to go through your house and find the weirdest item. Because I had asked you, no one had asked me. No one could ask me. So I got a random message from Tom one day. I opened my phone. I opened my messenger. Hey Al, um, just to let you know, I've decided on what object you're going to write about. Um, Cursed sex doll. Oh, Jesus. What am I going to do with this?
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Well, definitely not
All
going to
worked
be.
out well in the end.
Yeah. I was going to say, we're definitely not going to do this for the, Billy Bonesworth story time for preschoolers. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, the Cobwebs and Curios one was that was a great anthology as well. It was when I was trying to think of a name for it. Um, I was like racking my brains, and I was like, cobwebs, cobwebs, cobwebs. I was trying to think of something spooky, and I probably had like the Adams Family and that in the back of my mind. And I'm like, oh, their house is full of cobwebs, right? Cobwebs. The shop's going to be full of cursed objects, like curios, cobwebs and curios. And without thinking, I decided on that name there and then. I messaged you, I messaged Tom, and I messaged Cameron, and that name is fantastic. Then, a little too late, I googled cobwebs and curios, and there was a store in the States called
Yep.
Cobwebs and Curios. God, I don't want to get hit with a copyright infringement here. We came to an agreement that they would allow me to use the name for the book, providing I sent them a copy of the book. I didn't only send them one copy; I sent them 5 copies of paperback and 5 hardback, and then they sold those, and then they ordered basically a case. So that all worked out well.
Indeed. And I mean, it's funny to see how far we've come. Third title with the Evil Genies finally on the verge of coming out. I'm curious to see where it's going to take us. And I
But
will
if
admit,
you look at the book sales, if you look at the book sales from uh, Let's Get Hammered compared to Cobwebs and Curios, it's slightly more, and that's not taking into consideration the sales from the Cobwebs and Curios store. I mean, it's not much more, but it is more. So we're gradually gaining a readership.
and that's good though. I mean, just like anything else, we're just going to keep pushing forward and plug it away
Yes.
as much as we can. And
Yeah.
yeah, I know for this one, I do want to give a few public acknowledgments here for helping with my story on a few levels. So, believe it or not, for my main character, the diabetic one, that comes from my friend and protege, Dan Gaines, who, as we speak, is roughly less than 2 months from graduating Full Sail as well, with the same degree as myself in creative writing for entertainment. And, besides doing all the standard writing factors and projects, he also happens to be a diabetic. And so he every once in a while on his not so good days, he'll put it up as an update on Facebook, including his numbers and such. And lo and behold, scrolling through social media while trying to take a writing break and you know looking at a whole bunch of numbers, plus also glucose readings. I'm like, this isn't helping the writing break, but you know what? This is giving me an idea. so, so I have to publicly thank him for giving me permission and the inspiration for that part. Now, um, the other half of it, which I still laugh about because she's actually listed as a character in the story in my story, is a woman named DJ McKinney, and right when we started to put our drafts together for Evil Genies, I had one of the most worst nightmare situations for any author you could think of. My computer died. And when I say that
That's happened to me before.
yeah, it was overused and it completely gave up the ghost. So I had to bring it over to Best Buy, and which is one of our big electronics chain over here that we have stateside.
Yeah.
And they have a group there called the Geek Squad that can always try to fix the impossible. And so DJ was my agent that would help me with the computer. And, you know, if you were a fly on the wall, you would have sworn that we're looking at a really cheesy B-movie soap opera with me pacing back and forth in front of the countertop going, oh, please tell me that you can save it. Please tell me that it's going to be okay. My whole life is in those confines of those megabytes and in that tower. This is 20 years of writing.
Yeah.
And they salvaged the writing. The computer died entirely, but the writing projects were saved. So, needless to say, she actually took it one step further and donated one of her other computers for me to finish the story. So I definitely
That was nice.
it was very unexpected. So so I figured what better way of just kind of showing the gratitude than to make her one of the characters in the story itself. And but even then I had to laugh because admittedly when I went to go and pick up the other one, she let me know the running joke, which was that most of the other people that she worked with were surprised at the age of the computer to begin with, because the computer that I was writing from was over 20 years old, was still working off of
the size of a
Windows
briefcase.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, if you think that's bad, I'm like, here, take a look at this. And I'm like, I got a notification from my phone carrier that they're going to be discontinuing my service because the model's obsolete. And I showed her my cell phone, and I'm like, I bought the cell phone 6 months before I got the computer. So they're roughly about 21, 22, 23 years old, roughly, but, still doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, talking about laptops dying, my last laptop died on me about 3/4 of the way through Planet of Dinosaurs. Luckily, I keep my files updated on a thumb drive.
Good.
I lost a paragraph.
Okay. That's
I
not
only
too
lost
bad.
a paragraph. A paragraph and a laptop I lost, but it could have been a lot worse. What happened that day is I stopped writing. I use Scrivener to write,
Okay.
and from the last keystroke, it saves after 10 seconds. So if I was to type something then stop, it would automatically save the file 10 seconds later. I stopped, I went to the toilet, came back, and my screen was blue.
Oh,
And nothing I tried could bring it back to life.
that's always the scary sight right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I always try to summarize things because, on occasion, I've done a few writers' workshops for the aspiring authors in the area. And I'm like, if you want the perfect horror scenario, the computer died.
There's nothing worse. It's a writer's worst nightmare.
No, absolutely not. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
that's 9 times out of 10. That's when you either go for the coffee or the whiskey, whichever's going to be the most
Yeah.
convenient.
or the razor blade.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so here's a tip. Here, I was only kidding about that part.
Yeah.
Here's a tip. If you're watching, if you're listening, if you're a writer, back up your data. Always keep it backed up. Never leave everything on your hard drive, solely on your
No.
hard drive.
Yeah, believe me. I mean, I keep one case of thumb drives next to me. I have 2 full cases of external hard drives sitting behind me.
Yeah.
So, and a
I've got
notepad
I've got two.
just in case I have some
Yeah,
ideas.
yeah. I've got my data on my laptop on the hard drive. I've got my thumb drive attached, which constantly updates every 10 seconds after the last keystroke, and I've got a backup of that thumb drive just in case that thumb drive dies, and it still doesn't feel like enough. You need a
That's
backup of a backup of a backup.
well, that's very true. That's very true on that one. And
I mean, it,
it's
it could be a little paranoia. I don't know.
no, it's not paranoia. It's just the writer's conundrum. You know, we want to try to back up everything as much as we can, and when that doesn't work, then we want to back up what we've originally backed up to begin with. But in the as a precautionary sense, that's when you want to look for some of the larger externals, so that you could back up times 5 squared. That way, then you have at least 1 or 3 terabytes of material saved before you can go off to the next one.
Yeah, writing's time consuming enough without having to rewrite everything.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many
So
times I've seen. You know, I can't tell you how many times
spend
I've
a
seen
few
it.
pounds or dollars on a thumb drive backup.
Yeah, you know, but even along the way, though, I'll say that this much that I can't tell you how many times I've seen a trailer for a film, and I'm like, oh, dude, this looks epic. I want to see this in theater. I'm gonna make arrangements. I'm gonna go opening night, get all the essentials: hot dogs, soda, popcorn, candy. I start working on doing the writing and stuff, and then by the time I'm done editing, not only did said movie leave the theater, but it's now coming out to streaming. And I'm like, okay, well, skip the theater experience.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Talking about movies, do you have Disney Plus?
I did, but not for right now. Get a bit of a
Yeah,
little financial tightness. So
yes. If you enjoy Marvel movies, Thunderbolts is available on Wednesday.
saw that in theaters and loved it. Now, have you
Yeah,
seen?
I'm looking forward to it.
Have you catched? Did he catch the Peacemaker yet with John Cena?
Not yet.
Oh, you're gonna be
Uh,
in for a treat.
mm, what I have been watching though is Alien Earth. I'm
Oh,
pretty impressed with that.
I tried the first 2 episodes, and it was a little too slow of a pace for me. You
It
know,
gets good.
okay, I'll have to reconsider because I mean, I'm such a fan of the series in general that besides having my 79 18-inch Kenner figure for the original movie, I've got I have almost all the Earth Colony ones from Dark Horse Comics as well too, and so I could see where some of the source material was already being utilized from and such, but
Yeah.
you know, not, but yeah. So I'll definitely try it again and see how it is. But for myself, I finally just finished watching yesterday the series finale for Nautilus from AMC. Have you seen that one by chance?
I haven't, but I do like Captain Nemo.
So do I. He is still my literary hero, and this one's a very interesting twist on things. So it was very well cast, and yeah, and basically the enemy was the East India Trade Company, which was an actual company based in the UK, and it's the fight about colonialism. Quite a very interesting twist on things.
I'll have to check that out.
It is well worth it.
Oh,
It's got a steampunk flair to it, so the design concept for Nautilus is really pretty wild.
my earliest memories of reading when I was younger, I specifically remember three books: The Wizard of Oz, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Nice.
They're that's the earliest three books I remember reading.
Well, you're part of the pun. We're in a similar boat. So yeah, I remember reading 20,000 Leagues. I also read Dracula and The Picture of Dorian Gray. And
As I got older, mean, I've not always been into horror. It wasn't until 19, I'd like to say 91, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was the first horror movie I remember watching, and I was hooked from that day. And then I moved on to Stephen King, Dean Koontz, Clive Barker, and ever since then I've just been a horror junkie.
well, for me, I practically grew up
And now I'm
enjoying.
doing it myself.
Yeah, so, yeah. For me, I practically grew up enjoying it from the get go, and so when I was younger, I used to watch the old Saturday Nightmares with Dr. Paul Bearer, who would always host all the older, Universal monsters and some of the cheesy ones from the 50s and stuff. And then I was introduced to Rod Serling with Night Gallery and then Twilight Zone as well too. So, but needless to say, I will say this much. One of the things that I always say is kind of like the old double-edged sword is that I've been exposed to horror long enough. I can figure out some of the plot lines for some of the films and things along those lines. But the flip side of the coin, that means I can also tweak it and pull a few adjustments. And at one point, and I know I'm going to be aging myself here in a minute, but at one point in my life, I actually worked at Blockbuster Video, and I knew the pay was going to be crappy, but I was there because it's free video rentals for the employees, and employee discounts on the stuff that they were going to try to sell off anyways. So what better way to stock up on movies and posters and things along those lines? And time and again, my boss at the time would always pull me off to the side and be like, "Listen, we have a problem, and I don't know how I could do this because I'm not going to write you up. This is kind of funny, but you have to please be careful with what you do with our customers." And I'm like, "Well, I'm doing my job. You hired me as a customer service representative. They ask for my advice. I give it to them." It's like, yes, I know. But please be very careful. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, why? And the reason why is because of the fact that I would like to twist the arms of the customer indirectly. So, needless to say, during the course of my time there, I had about 127 complaints about me because if it was a weekend night, I'd set it up on a situation like this. So let's say that you walked into the shop and it's a Friday night. Ask me for a movie recommendation.
Or you want me to ask for a movie recommendation?
Yes, I'm looking at you.
Okay. Debbie does Dallas.
Okay,
Oh, you were freezing in and out there.
I see that. So we don't have that one. However, I could recommend a great film for this weekend if you'd like. It's a terrific film. It's about a woman who's a, single mother who is just struggling through the challenges of raising a preteen daughter and still maintaining the bond of the relationship that holds them together while the rest of society is falling apart around them. Would you by chance be interested in that title? Because that movie is The Exorcist. So,
Yeah, I remember those days as well. Going around the local video stores asking for the posters, and I got a Jaws poster. I think it was Jaws the Revenge at that time.
oh yeah,
Uh, I had the big poster of that. I had the a big cardboard cutout for Tremors. I had like Burt Gummer and Valentine and Fred Ward with the Tremors coming up the ground. Big cardboard cutout in the corner of my room. It was awesome.
well, I've, I have my Creature from the Black Lagoon, which is still my favorite Universal monster of all time, cut out. He's right now leaning up against my kitchen wall and pointing in directly to the refrigerator, given the angle that he's hanging at. So, you know, he's at least he's keeping an eye on the beer for me.
That's important. Look after the beer.
Yes, without a doubt. So,
Yeah.
you know, what are some of the titles that we're going to be looking forward to? You know, now that we've got Evil Genies into the final hurdle.
Okay. Once Evil Genies is complete and out on this coming Halloween, we will be doing Journals of the Dead.
Oh, you have my attention.
So, just think our very own Walking Dead anthology series.
Alrighty, I like it. And you know
Should
what?
be a good one.
You know what?
Go on.
I think we can take that one step further. You know how? Lead character instead of Daryl Dixon is his name's Allan. He's usually sitting down off to the a wingback chair, holding a beer in his hand, watching the zombie apocalypse happen.
Yeah, well, believe it or not, the local pub, they have new owners and they have removed said wingback seat.
Oh my! This sounds
Yes.
this sounds like this is becoming quite the conspiracy. We're gonna have to fix that. I mean, I promise you, sooner or later, I'm gonna notify town council, and I'm gonna request a blue plaque to go out front of that pub, and it's gonna say at this location on this date in September of 2020, Allan J.D. McNeill conceived of Bonehead Publications. And then we'll designate the chair as a historical landmark inside.
Yeah. Yeah, that pub's got a lot of history. Um, one of the window frames. It's in a museum now, but there used to be an inscription. Yeah, it just carved into the wood, and they removed it.
So I guess maybe now what you got to do is get a 3D print of Billy Bonesworth, and conveniently put him like into the back wall near the bedroom or something. Make it not as
Oh,
obvious.
that's an idea. I wonder if I could find someone that could do that, taking a poster to a whole new level.
Yeah.
And another thing, I think you already know, Bonehead Public, uh, Bonehead Publications now sponsor a women's ice hockey team, the Blackburn Hawks. Our logo is on the jersey, it's on the side paneling, and it's under the ice, which is exciting.
Well, I am very proud to see that one. So it's the perfect tie-in too, I think.
The uniform, just seeing the logo there is something to be proud of.
It is, I mean, well, again, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I mean, we have really, really come so far in such a short amount of time, and I am definitely none the prouder, and equally, of course, too, none the wiser.
Okay, before we wrap up, I'm having internet difficulties here just now. Keep dropping in and out. So we'll wrap up in a few minutes.
Well,
Um, just to let everyone know that we are working on a website. We did have a website through GoDaddy, but they increased their prices and it became unaffordable. Um, the merchandise will come shortly after. We're hoping to get that done at some point this year. In the meantime, our books, my own books, can be found on Amazon, and also Bonehead Publications anthologies can be found on Amazon as well, paperback, hardback, and Kindle. Um, the audiobook will be out hopefully by this coming October.
there we
But I'm
go.
hoping to have a launch. I'm hoping to have both the audiobook for Let's Get Hammered and Evil Genies out on the same day.
Oh, that would be fantastic right there. Yeah. Now, just to help us prepare, I actually, I have to thank our one of our fan base, Miss Rachel Seno, for this one. But one of my favorite stores, the Spirit of Halloween, opened up finally. So, needless to say, I was walking through there to see all the new
I saw
goodies.
that on Facebook. I was envious.
I know. Well, they opened it up.
Yes, the Halloween.
They don't have that over
Halloween is
here,
terrible in
damn
the UK.
it. But
Halloween
maybe
sucks in the UK.
so. But you know what? Maybe we'll see if we can reach out to them about doing a book signing in one of the shops, one of these Halloweens.
Oh,
You know,
I don't care about the book signing. I just want to go in and empty my wallet. Empty my wallet all over the store.
well, believe me, with the amount of stuff that they have, you'll be able to empty that in about maybe 15, 20 seconds. So, that's why like I said, we still have to coordinate this better, but I think we need to take Billy Bonesworth out on tour, and maybe even get up to Virginia where Cobwebs and Curios
Yeah,
is,
yeah, one
and
one day.
we got to talk to a tour manager and things like that. But just like anything else, one step at a time. But look at us so far, though. Here we are, 5 years into the endeavor, and 3 titles already out. So we're doing good.
Before even the Bonehead Publications anthologies came out, I had my own book tour lined up around all the libraries in Edinburgh. I managed to do my local library. That went well. I was due to do a Queensferry one up by the Forth Bridge, and COVID hit. We were all locked down, so
Jeez.
that was down the pan. And
Well,
after COVID, I tried to organize it all again, but I just couldn't get my feet off the ground.
well, consider yourself lucky, because I did one book signing. God, just really like maybe a few weeks after COVID finally lifted, and kind of the old double-edged sword. I wasn't sure how to coordinate everything very well, so I had this one father come up with one of the kids, and he picked up one of my other horror titles, and he goes, "Can my son read this?" And I looked at the kid and I go, "Do you know how to read?" The kid goes, "Yes." I'm like, "Yes, your son can read my book." Got a sale off of it. That needless to say, as I was packing up about 20 minutes later, that's when I was like, I just realized that he picked up the title that's not age appropriate, but I don't know where they went to, so it's not my problem at this point. The joy
I
of
was lucky enough as well to do a horror convention in Edinburgh as well. The EIC. That was just before COVID as well. And I met a lot of interesting people there. Sold a ton of books as well. Uh, Quite a few big names there as well. Caroline Munro, Jonathan Breck, Matthew Lillard, G. Tom Mack, otherwise known as Gerard McMahon, who done Cry Little Sister for the Lost Boys.
Oh yeah.
Loads of people.
Now I guess we'll have to start looking for the banners and start contacting the convention hosts here. It is coming into that season again.
Ever since that horror con, they went bust. They were meant to come back the following year, but they never did. Something to do with not enough funds to get the actors and actresses interested. Uh, Nothing happened from that, and we've had nothing since. We have Comic Con, but nothing horror based.
Okay, so Billy Bonacon. Keep that on the back burner still, but you can let me know your thoughts.
Did you ask me a question? You cut out there for
I did.
moment.
I said, how about a Billy Bonacon future endeavor?
Yes. Book tour and Billy Bonacon.
Yeah. We'll just have to call some of the others. You get a hold of Stephen King and Dean Koontz and Clive Barker, and I'll try to pull some of the local celebs over here as well too, and see what we can come up with.
It sounds like a plan.
I'm sure if I ask nicely, I might be able to get Jonathan Mayberry. So,
Yeah, big name.
yep.
Yes. Yeah, Jonathan Mayberry's on my Facebook, incidentally.
Small world. we
In
authors
fact,
tend to
I'm sure at
walk.
one point,
Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure Jonathan Maybury was meant to be involved with the original Let's Get Hammered project that I had lined up. 'Cause it was originally going to be through like Bedsheet Books, and then nothing happened, and
Yeah,
I got fed up waiting, and then I thought, no, screw it, I'm going it alone.
and
Do it on my own. Cut out the middleman.
but you know what though? I mean, it's been one hell of a ride so far. It really has. That's why every once in a while, whenever people ask me about some, any new projects or current titles, you know, I'll give them a little card that says "Invitation for Becoming a Bonehead," and then I list the Facebook group. Nothing like some good old fashioned guerrilla marketing to push things along,
Other than the anthologies, I mean, over the I do plan on trying to take on solo authors as well. If anyone's like interested in publishing their book through Bonehead Publications, I'd be more than happy to do that. They don't have to be involved with the anthology. It could be their own book, and maybe they're fed up with rejections. I mean, I know I was fed up with rejections.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
I definitely can't agree more on that one. You know, I believe it or not, I actually save all of my rejections as balance to all my praises and accolades, and
yeah,
I have both sets of letters hanging on either side of my hallway towards my office. It's just kind of a reminder of an equal balance. So makes it easier before jumping into the projects again.
yeah. That's what I like about doing this ourselves, is that we can write what we want and release it when we want. There's no middleman saying this is garbage. We're not touching this.
Nope.
No.
Yeah. And I mean, just like anything else, we're just the indie renegades, just working our own magic. That's all.
Two of the biggest authors on the planet, and they were rejected over and over and over again.
Yep. Believe me, I mean, it's interesting to see how they handle, get somebody into that type of a position of power and such, and watch how fast the heads roll.
Yeah.
It's crazy sometimes.
I mean, an author puts their heart and their soul into writing a novel, and then they send it off uh, to be looked at from a publisher, and they send an email saying this isn't good enough. It's it's soul destroying.
It could be worse, though. Okay, believe it or not, and I was actually talking about this with another filmmaker the other day, and it's one of those cases I seriously have to laugh, and that's that you know sometimes when you get into that type of a predicament, when you do the quarrying, I've noticed that sometimes it could backfire along the way. And I can give you a best example. I have one story in particular that I wrote a couple years back called Damned Campaigns. And basically, what it is, I went ahead and I tried to do an exact imitation of Rod Serling's writing style for the Twilight Zone, just to see if I can actually pull it off, because it's not as easy as it looks when you see it visually there and such. So, I wrote up a script and a short story for it, and I pitched it over to a producer who was looking for horror content, and going to be launching this whole new thing. It's going to be horror 24/7. I want something that's going to scare me. I want something that's obscure, things along those lines. Okay, so
Yeah,
I pitched the story to him, and you know specified that this is basically a homage to Rod Serling and the Twilight Zone for being an early source of an inspiration for me. Okay. And, my story itself is basically the plot is revealed within the first 2 or 3 lines of the story. And so the rest of all this stuff is just the fallout from the plot reveal. So lo and behold, I get a message back from the producer, and it was the damnedest thing, but I still laugh about it to this day because he's like, I'm gonna have to do a hard pass after much heavy consideration, but the truth of the matter is I like to try to work with more known authors and filmmakers, like Sean Cunningham and people that did Friday the 13th. And I really don't want to associate with unknown people like Rod Serling.
I don't think I've ever heard Rod Serling and unknown said in the same sentence.
Neither did I. And I'm like, I think I'm reading this message wrong. Let me double check. Naturally, of course, I responded back the typical way. Thank you very much for at least letting me consider it and presenting this to you. And good luck in the future endeavors. Blah blah blah. But yeah, damnedest thing.
It was actually the Twilight Zone that got me into anthology stories to start with. Twilight Zone, The Outer Limits, One Step Beyond. I love all those.
Yeah, me too. And I mean, it's just it's fun to see that here we are still picking up the reins on it because not too many people are doing anthologies as much these days. So I'm glad to stick out among the rest. But
Short stories, we were given 2,500 words, and because I had solely written novels, I found it the hardest thing in the world, squeezing a story, a beginning, a middle, and an end within 2,500 words. I thought it would have been impossible, but I got hooked,
good.
which is the main reason that I I enjoyed.
And we're still recording while waiting for the host to get back. But um, I'm going to fill in the blank partially here and say that I'm assuming that Mr. McNeill was trying to say that it's because of the reason of the challenge to try to adapt 2,500 words into a full, complete story with a 3-act structure is what made him pursue the anthology in the first place. So uh, I'm not sure because obviously I'm not the host. I'm not in the host's mind you. We just kind of had lost the connection here because of his Wi-Fi signal. And so in the worst case scenario, this is just me rambling as a filler until he returns back on, which he's trying to do as we speak. But yes, folks, without a shadow of a doubt, we here at Bonehead Publications really do try to strive to go for the next level of independent horror and make it a point to still provide as much entertainment as along the way as possible too. And I'll shut up now because our host is back.
I lost connection there, William.
I know. I added
I
filler
see
in
you
there
held the
for you.
fort.
I did.
I was panicking because I thought it would have ended the recording, but luckily it's not.
Well, that's good though.
So before before that happened, well, I thought you were away.
Nope, I'm here.
Yeah, if you go to Amazon, anyone listening or watching, go to Amazon and browse our books. Allan J.D. McNeill, 4 titles out under my own name, which are Tales by the Campfire, Planet of Dinosaurs, Inflatable, and Diary of a Broken Mind. along with Bonehead Publications, Let's Get Hammered, and Cobwebs and Curios. And if you have anything to add, William, maybe plug some of your own books that you have on Amazon or elsewhere.
I will. You can find my works on Amazon under my writing name, which is W.E. Brower Jr. If you are a nice horror buff, I have a nice $5 bit of nostalgic horror for you called Killer Journal, which is basically what would happen if Ed Gein hosted a home improvement show. So picture a nice little lovely house that's already been fully furnished, but with a lot of surprises along the way. But other than that, I'd say definitely look for our material through Bonehead Publications as well too, because I've been fortunate to have almost excuse me, nearly 40 titles. So no, I'm not going to list all the titles one by one, but I'll say this much: my stuff's available, but Bonehead Publications also has equally just as much as entertaining stories too.
I think we'll wrap it up there, William. I'd like to thank you for being a part of this pilot episode for Billy Bonesworth's Crypt. A bit of a tongue twister there. Might change that name. No, just kidding. I love that name.
Me too. I mean,
Billy
that,
Bonesworth.
I think that makes you the Crypt Keeper.
Oh, I'm a bit too young for the Crypt Keeper. On the next episode, I have Tom Commissar, guitar player for Slasher Boy and awesome writer for Bonehead Publications anthologies.
Well, I look forward to checking it
So,
out because Tom's a phenomenal musician and writer.
really good, and an actor, really good actor as well,
Oh yes, absolutely.
and a down to earth, funny, just an all round awesome dude. So, William, I will bid you good night, and if you're watching or listening, thank you. We at Bonehead Publications, myself and William, truly appreciate it. We will catch you on the next episode, episode 1.
Well, have a great night, folks, wherever you are in the world. And thank you again for having me, Allan.
You're welcome, William. This is Bonehead Publications, signing out.